Hey, Patricia. It's good to see you. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks, Todd. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Wow, we used to we could throw a football and kind of hit each other's house before we did our downsize over to Old Town. But it's really, really good to see you. So, for those that don't know you, Patricia, and the business that you have, introduce yourself.
Okay, great. So again, my name is Patricia Daiker. I'm a local Coppell resident, and Todd used to live down the street from me. I haven't moved. Um, I own a business called Dragonfly Lights. That's the name of my company, which is all about transformation. And I offer products called Better Diabetes Life. And I am a nurse coach specializing in diabetes burnout. So what that means on a couple fronts, we all know how to treat diabetes, diet, exercise, all that stuff, medications. We hear about it in spades. And nobody seems to be able to do it very well, even though we know we should eat well and exercise. It's hard to be perfect like that for a lifetime. So I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at age 26, and I've been on an insulin pump since 2000. Very healthy and very well acclimated now, but I always wasn't because I suffered from burnout. And even though I was a nurse and knew all the clinical information, it's just really hard to keep mentally in the game every day. And so over a lifetime of living with this, I've come to know many different strategies that are very helpful. And what I've found glaringly missing is any sort of kind of coping or help outside of telling you what to do and calling you non-compliant when you can't do it. And so my business really helps people who are living with diabetes to kind of get in a place of acceptance where it's not such a burden and not such a hardship. I do that in several different ways, one-on-one individual coaching. I can do it in person or online. And I'll tell you about this when we kind of talk about what happened, but this sort of information, I guess, it's easier or it can be consumed online. So when I actually really started my transformation years ago, I had to go to a counselor and it was a lot of soul searching. But really, it's not anything we all don't know, right? So we're mind, body, soul. It's not just our body. It's like our emotions, our mind, all these different pieces of us fit together. And by bringing these concepts to people online, they can actually work through a lot of them and have what Oprah calls these aha moments where you're like, wow, I didn't think of it like that. So it's
Have
finding new
you, has your
motivation and bringing it.
business, yeah, I'm sorry, has your business always been online? I think you said something about face to face.
Yeah, so I've had customer clients around locally. I've done it online. I've actually done some work in the schools. So
Got it.
really any place you can get together and connect. But
Yeah.
right now the focus in the last year has been going virtual because we can extend this reach because it's not really a service that's provided. So our loftier goals are to get this from the business to consumer side, but then also we recorded all the lessons and the content in such a way that we can scale to corporate wellness programs because there's tons of programs about diet and exercise, yet there's not a lot of stuff on how you really what that looks like in your life. How do you make it work for you on your terms, your culture, your ideals, your values, all that stuff? If it's not considered, it's somebody else's rules, and all of us have a hard time playing by somebody else's rules,
Well,
right?
speaking of playing by everybody else's rules, I mean, especially with what's going on with coronavirus and the pandemic, and just how, the world literally almost just turned on a dime, shut down, however you want to look at it. It's affecting everybody in a little bit different ways, especially businesses. You've been moving towards virtual, but how has this last week, how has this last 2 weeks impacted your business? What's that look like?
So, it's I want to tell you two ways it's impacted me and my business. So one is as a person with diabetes, I had a situation where I didn't think I was going to have any insulin. And it was really a panic because I couldn't get my normal supply. It was delayed. So the stress and anxiety we feel, I had some of that as well because, when your normal structure falls apart, it's really, really scary. As my business, so we were very much in a marketing plan and strategy, doing Facebook ads and e-commerce, marketing to ramp this program up. And when Corona hit, the messaging really didn't apply. Nobody cared anymore. And so we're like, oh my gosh, this is going to kill me. But the more I started thinking about it, I'm like, It's actually an opportunity because right now, people with diabetes are at risk, not of getting the infection, but if we get the infection, we are more likely to struggle with recovery or overcoming the virus. And honestly, the only defense we have is good health. Well, when you're isolated, when you're stuck at home, when you're stressed, when you want to stress eat, when you don't feel like working out, all those things that keep you in good health, you're more likely to not be in a position should you get infected to do well. And so willpower is just never enough. So we've totally retooled our strategy and our pricing and kind of our messaging for people who are stuck at home that need some motivation. They need some new ideas. They need new ways of thinking about this. How do you stay motivated? What is making you do what you know you don't want to do? How can you optimize your health? And so we've totally abandoned all the marketing we were doing. We've reinvented everything, and we're getting ready to kick off a whole new series of ads at a lower price point so that if people are struggling and they need some help, they need some ideas, that is accessible to them. And then we're reaching out in different marketing networking channels, trying to find anybody like yourself that can help us spread the word so people who are stuck at home, it's something they can do. The content's already sitting there. All they have to do is go online and sign in and go to town.
Yeah, you talk about having to revamp your marketing message. I know that I've got the TV on more than ever. Just sometimes the volume's on, sometimes it's just kind of background noise. But it's really easy to see the commercials that just don't fit, that were shot, 30 days ago, 90 days ago, and it's and there's just stuff that does not fit when with what we're dealing with now.
Right.
So to be able to turn on a dime, change your copy, change your creative, get a message out there, make a pricing adjustment. Sounds like you've had to be really, really agile to make those changes. Since you've made those changes, maybe you can think about how to help others that might see this small business wise. Did you make any changes that were like bad changes, or was everything for the positive? Anything you've learned from it?
Bad changes. I think the hardest thing that we've done personally for me is we haven't done it fast enough. We got a little bit too caught up in creative of what's perfect. And I think, I worked in software for a number of years between kind of nursing and what I'm doing now. And we always had that idea that good enough sometimes is okay. When you chase perfection, trying to get it absolutely 100%, it may be another week, which is a week you could have been serving people. And so my goal is really to serve. So I think one of the things is try not to overthink it too much. If I would, I think we came up with, after we kind of panicked, oh my gosh, what do we do? And then we're like, we changed it from how do we sell to how do we serve? How do I help somebody? Because at the end of the day, that's really what my business is about. And when that messaging kind of clicked on, it became very clear. And I wish I would have had that sooner, maybe.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
But don't overthink it. I think find your passion, find that thing that you can do for somebody. And to your point, when people are out there just trying to sell you something and it really doesn't help, I feel like that's glaringly obvious, and it's kind of there's a falsehood there. But sticking true to your branding and your product and what your product really can do, or how your services really can help right now, is mission critical. Tighten it up and get it really focused, because if it's not about today, what's going on, quite frankly, no one cares.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Today's message.
Yeah, there's a lot of times that, to use a cliche phrase, but perfection can be the enemy of good, right? And especially as fast as you can adapt and change. I mean, Facebook ads and those kind of things, you can A/B test copy a lot and see what works. So that's wonderful. Well, I really, really appreciate it. I mean, as we wrap up, for those that might be watching, listening, that need your services,
Sure.
like where do they find you? How do they find you?
So the easiest way is my website, and it's betterdiabeteslife.com. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the social media, but my website has all that contact information. But again, betterdiabeteslife.com. You can read about my services, what I do. You can take a look at the e-course, things like that. And my email's there too. So if anybody has any questions, I'm always happy to field any calls. Just somebody has questions about what it's like, I'm happy to hop on a call. So, but all that's on the website.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I love that you are, your business is wrapped around how to help others, and
Yeah.
that it came from a personal story or health from your standpoint is
Yeah.
even more powerful. So I really appreciate it. I really appreciate that. Thank you for, sharing. Thank you for letting other people understand just kind of how you're helping and what that
Yeah.
looks like. It's good to see you, and
Yeah, you
hopefully we'll be able to, see each other in person,
exactly.
sooner rather
Touch
than
all
later. So
those.
exactly. All right. Well, have a great one. It's good to see you, Patricia.
Okay,
Take care.
thanks. Bye bye.